Northern New South Wales Tablelands MP Adam Marshal announced his resignation from politics this week after more than a decade in his current role. His resignation has triggered a by-election in his seat of New England. The MP served as Agriculture and Western New South Wales Minister during the Berejiklian government, and Adam Marshal joins us live now. Hello, Adam, and thanks so much for joining us. A shock announcement. What are your reasons for resigning?
I guess, Janie, from my perspective, I just feel it's time and time to move on and some new challenges. I've been in public life now for 20 years. It was 20 years last week since I got elected to local government and then 11 years in the parliament. And I feel our region, the fundamentals are really strong. There's been a lot of investment here and the region is now really set up for success. And I'm at a point in my life where I now want to focus on having a family, starting a new career out in the private sector and really doing some other things that I've really wanted to do for some time in my life, but have obviously been on the back burner while I do this very important work.
Well, you said to formally resign on the 13th of May, and you did mention in your resignation announcement the possibility of looking into a job in the corporate space. Can you elaborate at all on that, or nothing as yet?
No, nothing. There'll be some announcements made in due course, Janie, but my focus at the moment, I've got another 5.5, nearly 6 weeks, and I've still got a lot of work to do to finish a couple of projects before I exit the stage, and also to try and put a good succession plan in place to make sure that this electorate is represented by a person that is not afraid to speak up and speak out and take on sometimes their own side in politics to stand up and get the resources that our region needs. I was very fortunate to take over from a brilliant MP in Richard Torbay, who was an independent, and I've tried very hard, even though I'm being a member of the National Party, to emulate that level of service in the electorate. And I think you've seen the results of that at the ballot box. And I want to make sure that the next person who comes after me continues that same level of service and vigorous representation for the electorate, because I think that's what everyone here deserves.
You first won the seat, I believe, in 2013 and have retained it with a 33.2% margin. What has the reaction been from the community about your resignation?
It's been very hard for me to actually take, Janie. It's been, I underestimated what the reaction would be. It's been overwhelming. People, mixture of shock and sadness. I think probably happiness for me in some respects. But I think, people are just quite shocked, and after they get over the initial sadness, a little bit worried about what comes next. A lot of people are very keen to know that the seat will be in safe hands and that they will continue to get well serviced by their local MP, not just getting money for projects, but representation on the issues that matter to people as well is just as important, in fact, probably more important. So that's what I'm going to be focused on next few weeks, finishing up a few projects and making sure we get people in place that'll give the electorate some good choices to make when they head to the ballot box in a few years' time.
You've been in politics, I believe, since you were 19 years of age, first elected to the Gunnedah Shire Council in 2004, became the mayor 4 years later. What have you been most proud of in your role?
I said this the other day at the announcement, that when I made my announcement in front with all of my local mayors, that the thing that I'm probably most proud of is actually the team Northern Tablelands approach. It's not been about Adam Marshal or one person in particular. All of the billions of dollars of investment and the results that we've had and the wins that we've shared in this region has been because of a solid team effort between all of the civic leaders in our region, and also the key opinion leaders and key drivers in every individual rural community. The deck is always stacked against us in regional areas, and to make change, move the needle, get resources out of Macquarie Street, we need to be united, because if we're not united, then we don't stand a chance against Sydney and Newcastle and Wollongong. And that's probably been my proudest moment. Proudest thing is keeping our region together. In addition to all those, big projects, the roads, the bridges, the hospitals, schools, all of that normal stuff that state governments should be delivering. But it's been that camaraderie and that united team approach that I think has singled this region, this electorate out from many others in the bush. And the results, I think, speak for themselves because of that team approach rather than everyone trying to do their own thing.
And just reading online, you attended Gunnedah Public School, and in your final year you were voted by your fellow students as the person most likely to be Australian Prime Minister. Any chance of this going to happen?
Absolutely zero. I think it's one of the worst jobs you could possibly have in the country. No, look, I've absolutely loved my time in public life. I really have. The 2 decades have absolutely flown by, and I've loved local government and state government because it's about delivering things that matter to people, about the services that people need. And I've really enjoyed grassroots politics. Federal politics is a completely different beast, but I've enjoyed the 20 years. I don't leave with any regrets. And I'm very happy looking back on what's been achieved across our region over those 2 decades. I mean, there's never a great time to leave. There's always something that's not quite finished. That's the nature of these roles. I'm very, very proud of what I've been involved in with many people over the years to drive our region.
Before we let you go, a significant time of change for the regions, including the transition to renewables and so much talk of nuclear energy. Opposition Leader Peter Dutton has confirmed cheaper electricity bills would be offered to communities who take up nuclear. What's your take on this? What are you hearing around your neck of the woods?
Well, if those in federal parliament are such big fans of nuclear energy, where's the legislation to repeal the legislative barrier to a nuclear industry in Australia? Let's see the courage of the convictions. Go for it. I'm completely energy generation agnostic. I mean, we have a market-based energy generation network in Australia, which means that the governments don't by and large. There are some exceptions to that, but by and large, it's the private sector that builds, owns, and operates electricity generation of whatever type in Australia. And so, remove those barriers, and let's see if the market will take up those opportunities. At the moment, it's simply an academic discussion, because there actually is no way that nuclear can be developed as a source of energy in Australia because federal legislation prevents it. So remove that barrier, and let's see if anyone will take up that opportunity.
Well, Adam Marshal, as you said, 5 to 6 more weeks to go before you officially resign, but congratulations on all of the work you've done over the decades, and we will talk to you again very soon.
Thanks, Janie. Thanks for having me.